Hello guys, and welcome back once again to the Asian channel. And today we are going to talk about... There is a photo of the SU-57 in combat striking targets in Odessa circulating of military blogs following the Russian military. And interestingly, on the single photo, the SU-57 is carrying two weapons externally. And I think those two weapons look like the KH-59 M2 cruise missile based on the photo. So the SU-57 is apparently doing a non-stealthy mission. It means it intentionally compromised its stealth capability. Of course, many people would find this odd because the SU-57 is a 5th-generation stealth fighter that's designed to be difficult to detect on radars, and it's envisioned to be used in combat on using those capability for air superiority missions, long-range strike without getting detected, or airspace penetration. The Su-57 might be less stealthy than the American F-22, the F-35, and the Chinese J-20, but certainly all those stealth fighters like the Su-57 are developed for those kinds of stealth missions. While the future Chinese J-20B with newer design and engine would certainly even improve its stealth better, but you could also say the same for the Su-57. It would have much improved stealth when it finally uses the new AL-51 engine. Although stealth fighters like the Su-57 are also designed to do non-stealthy mission, that's why they have option to put a weapon pylon on its wings. Like for example, on situation if the airspace is not contested, and there are no threats for air defense or other fighter, they may do non-stealth mission. But this is certainly not the case in Ukraine though. The airspace there is contested. So why did the Russian Air Force do it? Of course we don't have the absolute answer, and we could only make a guess. First, the Russians probably think that the airspace in that area is not super high of a threat against air defense or other fighters. They probably think that the area is survivable even for the 4th-generation fighters like the Su-35 or MiG-31 that normally operates and dominate in that area, because the Russians have an advantage and dominance on the airspace around the front lines by using superior and more numerous jets against Ukrainian fighters. The Russians are probably using all their air assets at the same time to overwhelm Ukrainian defense during the combined airstrikes. The 4.5-generation fighters are probably dropping the glide bombs and doing the riskier maneuvers, while the Su-57 and their long-range bombers are tasked on the strike mission by using their longer-range cruise missiles. Because aside from the weapon on their internal weapon bay, the Su-57 could launch more missiles at the same time if they're also carrying extra missiles on its external wing pylon. But certainly, some people would say, why risk the Su-57 when it could do long-range strike mission using cruise missiles stored on its internal weapon bay only? Cruise missiles that wouldn't compromise its stealth, because the KH-59 cruise missile has version designed to be fitted on its internal weapon bay, the KH-59 Mk2. The Su-57 is even designed to carry them on its internal weapon bay. They could also carry the newer KH-69 stealth cruise missile designed for the Su-57 internally. Now these leaves us the second possibility on why the Su-57 was used to strike targets on a non-stealth mission. The scarcity of these missiles may be the KH-59 Mk2 that is designed for the Su-57's internal storage, and the KH-69 stealthy cruise missile is not widely mass-produced yet. And also they're more technically advanced, so they're much more expensive. They also have to compromise a little bit on its range and firepower to fit them on the aircraft's internal weapon bay. While the KH-59 cruise missile is already produced in large numbers since entering service in 1980, it can also be carried by almost all Russian fighter jets and bombers. And lastly, it's slightly cheaper than its newer version for the Su-57. It has also slightly longer range, and it has more explosive on it as well. Well, nonetheless, it goes to show that the Russians are now really actively using the Su-57 in combat. They're not using them on long-range strike anymore. Now they're using them boldly. This is expected though, as the Russian Air Force receives more Su-57. They would certainly use them more in the future, especially on their intended mission that they were designed for. The Russian Air Force now finally have its first dedicated Su-57 squadron. They're estimated to have 20 to 22 Su-57 in active service. Now, this shows that the Su-57 is really in full active service. and it's probably the only 5th-generation stealth fighter out there in active combat against a country with credible air force and air defense, adding valuable experience to the aircraft, something its 5th-generation rival fighters could not get at the moment.